Then one of those thieves noticed and asked if the scarecrows were always that close to them. Just as a scarecrow appeared behind him, he became scared of that. Hyung swiftly cut down the scarecrow and explained that those scarecrows were not ordinary, they were monsters. Someone asked Hyung what they should do next. He pondered that these scarecrows might indeed be the monsters, but there hadn't been any reports of a dungeon break. Another thief fell silent, admitting that he had never seen anything like this, not even inside a gate. Hyung agreed, adding that they had left in such a hurry that most of their subordinates weren't present. He knew the request had been strange, and he would demonstrate what would happen to anyone trying to burn that. One thief noticed a place and pointed, asking if it was a silo. Hyung speculated that they might have found it, and if the story behind the rice was true, it could make them rich. He then ordered the others to load as much rice as they could into their cars, considering that the monsters were restricted only to the fields, so the storage would be safe. The next morning, they were all found tied up with ropes, with a board nearby explaining some details and mentioning the death of an important member of the thieves' group. After those people were arrested, the value of the Pantheon and the blessed rice skyrocketed. Leon actively promoted the Pantheon to facilitate the circulation of rice, and although there was a minor incident, it was soon forgotten. Eventually, the entire internet was buzzing about the Pantheon. Taking a break, Leon wondered if this was the gods' plan and realized they seemed to be adapting to modern society better than he was. Haru arrived with big news, revealing that the evaluation results for the rice were in, valuing each pack at 230 million won. Leon insisted it had to be cheaper. She asked if it wasn't good but it was expensive. Leon explained that the market should determine the price, but with such a high value, how would the peasants afford it? He believed a god's favor should be equally accessible to all. She inquired if that was true. Leon recounted meeting the president earlier, where he emphasized the need to educate farmers about divine favor, but officials stressed maintaining religious neutrality. Haru remarked that it was indeed true. Leon replied that he had still managed to gather more faith, which should be sufficient to amass the Lionheart power and force. She asked if that would be fine. He inquired about what she meant. She explained that she had successfully acquired the yellow hat as Leon had requested, but raiding that gate with the people he had selected seemed impossible. Leon confidently replied that they would see about that. The scene then shifts to a building where Dohan meets Gu, and they both recognize each other as kin. Gu greeted him, saying they met again. Dohan asked if Kim was there because of the text message about the Hunter Association president gathering helpless hunters like them, wondering what would happen. Gu admitted he was also curious. Observing the others around them, he noted that they were all C and D rank hunters. While they were waiting, they saw Hari arrive, and one man mentioned that Hari was an A-rank swordsman who had apparently set the highest record during last year's draft. Gu looked back and noticed Leon had also arrived, recognizing him as the survivor. Gu knew that Leon wasn't an ordinary person and hailed from a different world. When Leon took the stage in front of all the hunters and welcomed them, he explained that he had called them there because he was seeking soldiers to join his guild named Pantheon. He clarified that the hunters who were qualified, who had proven themselves and undergone training, would be honored with the opportunity to enter his military. Gu thought that Leon was talking about the military, not the guild. A man mentioned they would receive information about the entrance test, which turned out to be clearing the yellow gate at Samjeon Station. This revelation shocked them all, prompting questions about how they could possibly do that, equating it to a death sentence and questioning the nature of the test. Gu believed these reactions were to be expected from the hunters. The gates were ranked by color, with black being the most dangerous, followed by red and orange, which were lower risk. After these were yellow, green, and blue gates. Considering that the gate where Gu took his test at Seoul Station was blue, for C or D rank hunters, the yellow gate meant certain death. The adventurers were all vocal about their doubts on how they would manage to clear the yellow rank gate, considering it seemed like a lie. The man in charge asked them to calm down and stated that if they didn't intend to proceed with the test, they were free to leave. This led to some of them angrily departing, complaining about wasted time, with one even saying they'd rather go back to sleep. Gu wondered if it was all right to let them leave without trying to stop them. Only a handful of adventurers chose to stay. Leon pointed to one of them and asked why he had chosen to stay. The hunter, looking worried, replied that he thought there might be some significance to it. Leon agreed and turned to another, inquiring about his decision. That hunter nonchalantly mentioned that he had stayed just because. When Leon asked a third hunter, the response was that he stayed because his friend was also staying. Then Leon directed his question to Gu, asking why he was staying. Gu explained that since the guild was created by an S-rank hunter, he was willing to take the chance. He added that he didn't believe Leon would let them die, which was why he chose to stay. Leon appreciated Gu's confidence and remarked that he seemed energetic. He explained that he was there to gather soldiers, and their first duty was to obey without doubt, to accept a knight's orders, and to trust in the knight's honor and power. That was all they needed to do, simply listen and follow. He instructed all the hunters who had stayed to gather their share of equipment and prepare. The scene then shifted to Samjeon Station, in front of the Yellow Gate. All the hunters were adorned in armor, with one commenting on its weight, but also its quality. Do-han wondered if they were allowed to use such rare ranked equipment, which would have cost around 10 million won. As C and D rank hunters, they wouldn't have normally had access to such gear, but Leon himself wasn't wearing any equipment. Gu then called Hari, who recognized him and asked what was going on. Gu inquired why Leon wasn't wearing any armor. Hari replied that his skin was tougher than any armor. Gu thought that since Leon was strong, nothing would happen to him. As they ventured inside, a man remarked that it felt like they were heading into a battle amidst fresh air. Just then, they received a support request from the NOC. Do-han mentioned to Gu that it seemed like a faction quest. Gu agreed, noting that they likely had to choose a side to support and assist them in winning, the dilemma being which side would offer the easier path to victory. Suddenly, a man pointed out ahead, where monsters appeared. A group of monsters riding animals and wielding weapons stood in front of them. The leader of the pack demanded to know who they were, claiming that it was the Battle Axe tribe's territory and they were intruding. Hari observed the frustration on Leon's face and asked if they should proceed with the quest. Leon replied that she should do as she wished. She thanked him and then addressed the monsters, informing them that they were mercenaries who had come seeking rewards for assisting a tribe. The monsters considered that they might be the outsiders mentioned by their chief. They then asked the group to follow them. As they reached the tribe, the chief commented that the mercenaries seemed weaker than expected, but it was acceptable. He asked them to support the tribe in battle, hinting at a larger-scale conflict with the promise of a more honorable death. The victor would claim everything. Leon grew angry, unable to tolerate such words any longer. The chief, also angered, demanded to know who dared to speak out. Lightning sparks crackled around Leon as he emerged, expressing disdain for their lofty dreams they didn't deserve. The chief, incensed, questioned if Leon was insulting them. Without hesitation, Leon slew the chief with his sword, declaring that he was not an honorable warrior and would perish like a bug in the dirt, representing unwavering justice. Leon's kill streak of 8,769,653 orcs earned him the title of Orc Slayer and established his legend. The orcs were shocked to witness their chief's demise and swiftly launched an attack against the humans. Leon instructed the hunters to grab their shields and form a circle to defend against the orc assaults. Gu was surprised, questioning how they, as D-rank hunters, could stand against the orcs. When an orc struck at the shield, intending to kill, Gu found himself blocking the attack. To his amazement, he realized they all possessed the aura of the Lionheart, which provided them with various advantages. Leon urged them to raise their shields, push back the shocked orcs, and wait for the opportune moment to strike and kill them. They followed his orders and successfully defeated the orcs. The orcs called upon their god of warriors, which infuriated Leon. He ordered to cut off their tongues, take their heads, and insult their misguided deity. Meanwhile, some orcs observed the scene from a distance. Leon, mounted on his horse, charged towards them, and his horse delivered a powerful kick. Determined to eliminate them all, Leon readied himself to exterminate the remaining orcs. After the victorious slaughter, Leon exulted in triumph and urged everyone to scream in celebration, calling it an honorable victory. The hunters were elated too. However, Hari confronted him and questioned his actions, asking why he had killed the orcs. Leon responded sharply, questioning the need to spare the orcs. He dismissed the idea of helping them as nonsense, stating that he would rather throw himself into a blazing fire than aid those green beasts. He argued that the orcs didn't deserve any mercy, their existence was inherently evil, and they didn't deserve to live. While they may have been brave, he vehemently opposed comparing their aggression to the bravery of knights. He saw them as nothing more than sickening beasts who didn't deserve to be treated as humans. Hari mentioned the possibility of a kind orc king somewhere in the world. Leon simply advised her to remember that the only good orc is a dead orc. Leon recalled the time when countless orc survivors arrived on Earth through the gates and humans welcomed them. However, the orcs struggled to adapt and became more like demonic humans. He emphasized that orcs were a problem on Earth. Spin and Leon reached their destination, where Spin suggested that an all-out kill was possible if their duty required it, as it would be very efficient. Leon left that decision to him. He then asked Hari why she was wearing clothes over her head to conceal her colored hair. Spin initiated the core overload, causing a high yellow light to surround him. He explained that the core was overloaded, the cooling system was abnormal, and the fuel rod's deterioration had accelerated, leading to core fusion. Upon seeing this, Hari commented that it looked like something unpleasant. Leon advised her not to use dirty language. She asked if releasing radioactive material into the river to kill orcs went against the honor of a knight. Leon smiled and explained to Spin and Hari that fighting the orcs wasn't a war or a battle, it was about exterminating the beasts. He questioned what kind of hunter would worry about honor when it came to hunting, reiterating his belief that a good orc was a dead orc. Hi guys, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy the content.